I feel in the 2 years that I've been working with the things that you've given us that I've achieved a certain skill with life. And at this point in my life, which is somewhat further away from the beginning, it's nice to be living in this way. And so I would like to think about going on living in this way for an unending extended period. And I remember back to when I first got on a spiritual path, so to say, and was told about people who were ascended masters and that they could turn the cells of their body into light and take their physical body with them. And then I learned about people who were immortal beings. And I've heard you talk about the kitchen and all of the things that I could have in my kitchen. And while I've become much more comfortable with the concept of death, as you've put it forward, I would like in my kitchen possibly immortality and or to become a physically light ascended being and take my body with me. Can you talk a bit about it?
It is done. Yes, it is done. Next. Well, everyone does that. In other words, everyone who makes their transition into non-physical does exactly that.
Right.
They become even more supreme energy than what you call light energy. They become thought energy. And they reemerge into non-physical.
Right.
But the implication from what you were offering earlier is that they turn it into light. And they do what?
They remain in their physical body, but it's a light body, and they're able to even bilocate. They can be in two places at one time.
Well, we think that what is happening is someone like Esther is interpreting energy, interpreting thought and knowing, and is describing what really is happening. In other words, we are moving about your time-space reality constantly. And you might call us a light body, even though as we are moving through Esther, you are experiencing Esther's body. But we do not need Esther's body to experience your time-space reality.
Okay.
And neither do you from your inner being perspective. But you are not wanting, really, to stay in these physical bodies for long periods of time. Your intention is to come forth, have poignant, fabulous exposure to contrast, which brings forth desire that you can fulfill, and then you like to reemerge into the non-physical and take another look at things and come forth anew. It is so refreshing.
Well, I guess I'm not ready to be refreshed, and I'd like to go on.
Well, we are not going to pronounce you as one who will remain in your physical body, but we will pronounce you as immortal. We will call you eternal. We can promise you that your consciousness will always remain. We can promise you that when you make your transition into non-physical, you will have full awareness of who you are. And that you will not long for the being that you have been, because in your achievement or realignment with all that you are, you will appreciate this that you are and so much, much more. As you approach this time of making your transition, from what you know, the alignment with the energy will make it feel like the next logical step to you. It is our promise to you that you can relieve yourself of the dread of death. The promise of life is so much more delicious than the dread of death. But we will promise no one, for it has never been, that you will remain in this physical body, because the energies of this time-space reality are so much more eternal than the cellular structure of this physical body. It is not a good plan, you see. And those who are speaking of it, we promise you, are not speaking of it from the physical perspective. They're speaking of it from the non-physical perspective of it. They're speaking of the eternalness from the true non-physical perspective of eternalness. You are eternal, but you're not going to stay in this body eternally. You would not want to. Really, you would not want to. Really, you would not want to. Really, you would not want to. Why would you? Why would you not want to come forth into a fresh new perspective where desire is all new and fun again, where all resistance that you've picked up along the physical trail could be left aside and new rockets of desire could emanate from you? Why would you not want to expand in the way that you were eternally intending to expand, you see? These questions only come forth from physical humans who are afraid of death every time.
I just really feel that I'm having so much fun now because I understand manifestation and I understand.
Oh, we know. We understand. Esther will say that too. Abraham, I love knowing what I know. I don't want to come back and not remember. And we say, everyone who comes back remembers. Look at the little ones. Every one of them remember. Look them in the eye and say to them, do you remember? Mm-hmm. And every one of them will look back and they will say, I remember. I know I am powerful. I know I am free. And they resist the bondage that their parents try to lay on them right away. In other words, they remember who they are. Yes. You always remember who you are. And your guidance system lets you know that you're remembering. If you didn't remember, you would not experience negative emotion. Negative emotion is your promise of your memory. Mm-hmm. Negative emotion means you're not remembering in this moment, or at least you're not practicing what you remember, that you are absolutely free beings and that you are powerful beings. In other words, when you experience fear, that means whatever you're focused on in this moment is a moment of not remembering who you really are, but you have the potential to remember. And you recognize what you remember because when someone says you are adored, you remember, you have that resonating feeling racing through you. You know when someone says you can be or do or have anything, you remember, you recognize that. That's a signpost along the way. All that's gone wrong is that someone convinced you that if it feels good, it isn't. And if it feels bad, it's good. In other words, that's the only thing that's gone wrong. You've got crossways of your own guidance system because there have been so many outside of you that don't want you to guide you. They want to guide you. They need you to be the way they need you to be because they are worried that you will contaminate their kitchen somehow if you be as you want to be. They are the ones who are lost and they're wanting to guide you. Those who have found who they are not trying to guide others away from their desires. They are encouraging them to use their own guidance to find their desires. A parent who has reconnected vibrationally and consciously with their memory of who they really are says to their child, follow your gut. Let that matter most to you. Do what feels best to you. Mm-hmm. And a mentor like that would foster a child who would not need to lie. They would foster a child who would get in touch and stay in touch with their own emotional guidance system. They would foster a child who remembers their freedom and looks for it everywhere and does not need other people to do things to make them feel free. They just remember that they are free. And that's what you're saying you want. You're enjoying your newly rediscovered empowerment and you don't want to let loose of it. And we say, set forth an intention not to let loose of it. We don't think you will. Okay. We see the little buggers coming forth. They are more determined for freedom than ever. And they feel invincible, so invincible that they'll be born in famine fields. They'll be born in Iraq where the bombs will drop. They're born all over the place. And they're coming forth not afraid. They're not saying, oh no, not there. I was counting on Malibu. They're saying, let me come forth, I will make my way, and the variety will surprise and delight me, and new ideas will be born. And I am born for the desire that will be born. Do you hear that? You all keep thinking, because often you're in a place where your desire and where you are is not in the same place. But you keep thinking that what you really are wanting is a fulfillment of all desires, where the eternal nature of you is wanting to be in a position that new unfulfilled desires will be born within you. Because the unfulfilled desire is the promise of life, and life flowing through you. That eagerness is only there when there is a new desire, a fresh new desire. Your desires get so stale. You want fresh new desires. You want to get in an RV and go to a new place where every day there is a new way that you have to make for yourself. You want to go to a town where you have no idea where the grocery stores or the dry cleaners are or the restaurants are. You want to get out there and mine the city, mine the people for fun things to talk about and fun things to do. In other words, you come forth into this environment wanting the new experience because you love that life-giving feeling of something unfulfilled, because you know that it is the promise of your eternalness, you see. Mm-hmm. You never get it done. You don't ever want to get it done, and you don't ever want to get it figured out either. Mm-hmm. Yes. To be at any age and to reclaim the eager vitality of the baby, that is the key to joyous living.
Yes. Yes.
Jerry and Esther sometimes will move through the RV parks where mostly retired people are. And Esther will say, I have to go somewhere where someone young is. because these people seem finished. Not all of them, but most of them are stale in their desires. They are not putting themselves into situations where fresh new desires are being born. They're more interested in getting it all figured out so they don't have to think the new thought. And that's why we promise you that you're going to croak. Yes! Yes! And leave behind all that old stale expectation and be born anew in a fresh, new, eager perspective. What we are saying to you is it can't not be. You cannot not be eternal. And you cannot not ascend. You must. It is absolute.
Thank you.
It is our powerful encouragement in light of how far we've come together today that if you are wanting to deliberately move your vibration into a new place where all aches and pains will disappear and clarity will replace confusion and all manner of things wanted will begin to unfold in easily acknowledgeable patterns. In other words, evidence daily of improved condition. It is our encouragement that you play with this process. When you feel emotion and you have a moment where you can sit and write, stop and write the word subject on a blank piece of paper. And then write the subject. What is it that I'm thinking about? Next, write the words current emotional set point. And then just sit and dialogue. Write what you feel. He said this to me, and he shouldn't have said this to me, and this hurt my feelings. Write whatever you're feeling. And as you write, once you've written 5 or 6 sentences, then go back and look at each sentence, and somewhere around the ending of each sentence, write the emotional word that this feels like. And then say to yourself, my current set point is anger. Or my current set point is disappointment. Or my current set point is overwhelmment. Or my current set point is blame. Or my current set point is resistance. Whatever it is, it will be obvious to you. And then write emotional goal. And choose some emotion that you know is attainable, that's not too far up the vibrational scale, and write those words. And then write more sentences as you reach for that new goal. And when you feel the sensation of relief that comes, and it will come, it is our promise to you. You can't do this without it coming. Circle the new achieved goal. And underline it as you triumphantly say, my new set point emotionally is. And pat yourself on the back for regaining control of your own vibrational pattern. And if you have time, stay there longer. It is our encouragement that especially when you feel strong negative emotion, that you sit and do this. Because as you sit and do this, in the midst of that strong negative emotion, you have the greatest opportunity to feel your vibrational relief. And that feeling of emotional relief is the feeling of the letting go of resistance. And the feeling of the letting go of resistance is what practicing the art of allowing is. This is a powerful process for once and for all changing the set point of your vibrational state or your point of attraction. We are exhilarated as we interact with you. It is with great satisfaction that we play together. We are enjoying the details of your time-space reality, and we are enjoying the details of your exposure to one another. We are enjoying the desire that is bursting forth within you. And if there is any desire that we hold, and we do hold desire, sometimes Jerry doesn't think that Abraham wants anything, but it is our desire that you rediscover the power of your own connection to source energy. Because that's where clarity is, that's where wellness is, that's where joy is, that's where fun is, that's where exhilaration is, that's where all the good stuff is. There is great love here for you. And for now, we are complete.